Hey everybody, welcome back. Before I get into the video, really quick, I just want to say, if you are watching this on Friday, May 6th, 2022, today is Bandcamp Friday, which is the last time I believe that they intend to do that for a while, which basically means that the main reason I use Bandcamp for my own music is because their percentage that they take from revenue that anyone earns on their site is very, very minimal compared to like everybody else. So I really like how they're very independent and artist centered. So anyway, but on the first Friday of every month for the past long while now, they've waived their share, I guess. So if anyone was thinking of checking out the album that I made or wanted to buy it, now would be, or today would be the best day to do so, up until I believe midnight. Actually, no, maybe it's 3 o'clock in the morning in Eastern Standard Time. I don't know. Anyway, and if you do buy the album, you get access to the whole thing. You can download it all in the highest quality that it's possible to get it in, plus a lyric sheet, a like 10-page long liner notes thing, and the bonus track. All right, that took up like 2 minutes. So let's get into this. First of all, this has been requested a whole lot. The Decemberists, the Mariner's Revenge song, which is not to be confused with other songs with similar titles, which is the main reason I hadn't checked this out yet, is because I thought this was a cover. I was wrong. The first thing I noticed when I went onto this is that it's Kill Rock Stars. This is the YouTube channel I listen to Elliott Smith on a daily basis currently. So, yeah, cool. I like this. I think it's a label. Pretty sure it's a label. All right. Yeah, so this is 8 minutes, almost 9 minutes long, so I'm very excited to check this out. And yeah, I think this is the first track that we're doing by the Decemberists, so I have very little idea what to expect. Let's get into it. 3, 2, 1. Thank you for joining me. Also, my name is Daniel if you're new to the channel. Here we react to music, and I try to figure out what the music and the lyrics mean to me personally. Here we go.
We are two mariners, our ship's sole survivors, in this belly of a whale. Its ribs are ceiling beams, its guts are carpeting. I guess we have some time to kill.
Okay.
You may not remember me, I was a child of 3, and you a lad of 18. But I remember you, and I will relate to you how our history's in a weave. At the time you were a rake and a roustabout, spending all your money on boys and hounds. You had a charming air, all cheap and debonair, my widowed mother found so sweet. And so she took you in, her sheets still warm with him, now filled with filth and foul disease. As time wore on, you proved a dead-ridden, drunken mess, leaving my mother a poor, consumptive wretch. Oh, and then you disappeared, your gambling arrears, the only thing you left behind. And then the magistrate reclaimed our small estate, and my poor mother lost her mind. Then one day in spring, my dear sweet mother died. But before she did, I took her hand as she dying cried. Oh, oh.
Yeah, pause it. That'll be the only time I do so. Nothing's gonna harm you, not while I'm around. That's what this is reminding me of so far. Wow. This is very intense. I love it. Let's just keep going.
It took me 15 years to swallow all my tears among the urchins in the street, until a priory took pity and hired me to keep their vestry nice and neat. But never once in the employ of these holy men did I ever once turn my mind from the thought of revenge. Oh. One night I overheard the prior exchanging words with a penitent whaler from the sea. The captain of his ship, who matched you toe-to-tip, was known for one cruelty. The following day I shipped to sea with the privateer, and in the whistle of the wind I could almost hear,
Find him, tie him to a pole and break his fingers to splinters, hang him to a hole until he wakes up naked, clawing at the ceiling of his grave.
Damn.
There is one thing I must say to you. As you sail across the sea, always your mother will watch over you as you avenge this wicked deed.
They're in the stomach of a whale right now. Dance of death.
And then that fateful night, we had you in our sight after 20 months at sea. With your starboard flank abeam, I was getting my muskets clean when came this rumbling from beneath. The ocean shook, the sky went black, and the captain quailed. And before us grew the angry joys of a giant whale. Don't know how I survived. The crew all was chewed alive. I must have slipped between his teeth. But oh, what providence, what divine intelligence, that you should survive as well as me. It gives my heart great joy to see your eyes fill with fear.
Here we go.
So lean in close and I will whisper the last words you'll hear.
That was the end? No. I wanted to know what happened. I'm assuming he kills him, but now they're both stuck in the belly of the whale. Wow. Alright. Interesting. Who is this man? What sort of devil is he to have me caught in a trap and choose to let me go free? Well, actually, that's not working in this scenario. But anyway, alright. What providence, what divine intelligence that you should survive as well as me. That gives me chills. Oh, hey, this person's name is the Demon Barber of YouTube. That's an amazing account name. I wish I had thought of that. This is easily one of the best songs I've ever heard in my entire life. My favorite part is at the end there are no words spoken but the mother's melody, and you just know the man is being torn to shreds. Yep. Wow. Amazing. Wow. This gets a lot darker. Let's see. This gets darker when you consider that the mariner has the wrong guy. His madness and devotion could make him feel like he isn't allowed to die without avenging his mom, so in his last moments he chooses the other sole survivor in his place. Well, that's true, but you think that's the case? Let's see any other comments. Where'd you hear he has the wrong guy? I wasn't saying he actually has the wrong guy. I'm just thinking how much darker it would be if that was the truth. Interesting. I've never thought of this. That's absolutely genius. I mean, there's no hint that it's true, but there's also no proof that he is the real man. It makes total sense that the man would be so addicted to this revenge idea, and since he's about to die, he would make believe that this man was the actual man. Bit of far-fetched since it's not clearly stated, but I like that idea. Bravo for thinking of that. Yeah. Seeing as it's been 15 years and he last saw the man at age 3, he likely doesn't remember what he looked like. Interesting. Find him, bind him, tie him to a pole, and break his fingers to splinters. Brilliant. This story would make one hell of a movie. Made me think of an even darker version. I guess the story of Jonah is already kind of messed up, but like a darker version of that, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, the Mariner's Revenge song is from the Decemberists' third studio album released in 2005. It's a story of two mariners who are the sole survivors of a monstrous attack by a sperm. Another whale-related song. The narrative unfolds as a flashback where the speaker reveals exactly how the two know each other. The voicing, tempo, and choice of instruments all help convey this theme of revenge. The themes of the song are revenge and retribution. A man basically throws away all prospect of a normal life and goes to extremely great lengths in order to exact revenge. It makes us consider whether it's worth it to harbor that much resentment. Pulls thematically from revenge tales such as The Count of Monte Cristo, as well as the story of Jonah and Moby Dick. Hopefully I pronounced The Count properly. Alright. Let's see. Am I going to go over all? I guess I will go over all the lyrics. Here we go. We are two mariners, our ship's sole survivors in this belly of a whale. It's a common trope in fairy tale-esque stories to be trapped in the belly of a whale due to the common interpretation that the large fish in the biblical account is that of a whale. The story is also referenced in Pinocchio under similar circumstances. James Bartley, for example, is said to have been swallowed by a giant sperm whale, but this is unlikely given the circumstances. Although this may be another account of the unreliable narrator, given the condition of the belly of whales are inhospitable to humans, with the only whale's stomach being big enough being a sperm whale. Who knows? Its ribs are ceiling beams. Its guts are carpeting. I guess we have some time to kill. What a great way of saying that. You may not remember me. I was a child of 3 and you a lad of 18. But I remember you, and I will relate to you how our histories intertwine. While it is a common phrase that may simply fly over our heads at first, this line also sneakily foreshadows what the mariner means exactly by kill. Yep. This line sets up the continuous notion throughout the song, mainly that of the unreliable narrator. If he was only 3 and his stepfather was known to travel often, how exactly does he know what he looks like? The setting of the song is clearly before photography, so he's unable to know his yet he's able to know his description from toe to tip. This isn't a plot hole, but rather an intentional device used by the author to create a sense of ambiguity and inform the character of the mariner. Is he so desperate to avenge his mother that he'll persecute people who were not the actual captain, or has he deluded himself to think this man is the one responsible? Or perhaps he actually is the man in question, and any doubt is not warranted. It's deliberately set up to add a more fairy tale charm to the story. And like that other comment said, that interpretation actually makes it darker. Begins a classic tale of revenge. Yeah. See The Princess Bride, they said. Huh. At the time, you were a rake and roustabout, spending all your money on the whores and the hounds. A rake is a man who conducts immoral conduct. Roustabout's a worker, typically unskilled, often used in context of oil rigs or boomtown employment. Roustabout was often a term for a circus worker, which was also considered a disreputable occupation. Here he's spending his money on hounds, either gambling on dog fights or dog racing. The song is told from the mariner's perspective, and he repeats this line where he goes, oh, over and over some parts of the song. A total of 7 times. This effect is added in to emphasize the great pain and trouble that the mariner has gone through because of the second. You had a charming air, all cheap and debonair, my widowed mother found so sweet, and so she took you in, her sheets still warm with him, now filled with filth and foul disease. As time wore on, you proved a debt-ridden, drunken mess, leaving my mother a poor, consumptive wretch. Damn. The narrator's mother, lonely from the loss of her husband, fell easily to this man's charms. However, the charms were cheap, meaning they were faked as a means to draw the mother in so he could manipulate her. These lyrics mean that the narrator's father just recently died, that his mother's sheets were still warm with his father's presence. This relates to the new partner of the mother, a man who lives a sinful life, likely to have diseases from past sexual escapades, who now shares the bed with the mother where her husband once slept. Didn't take long for his charms and friendly air to vanish and be replaced by the sight of who he really was, a no-good drunk in debt up to his eyeballs. The mother's new lover spent all the family's money, causing the mother to be in poverty. His drunken behavior makes her miserable. On top of that, he has infected her with tuberculosis, a deadly disease which was known as consumption due to one of the symptoms being weight loss. And then you disappeared. Your gambling arrears, the only thing you left behind. To be in arrears is to be behind in paying your debts. Hence the pun, your gambling arrears, the only thing you left behind. He was gone, but his gambling debt sure wasn't. He made their house collateral as well, so the government does what they do and repossesses it. And then the magistrate reclaimed our small estate, and my poor mother lost her mind. Then one day in spring, my dear sweet mother died. The local government took their house and anything left to them by the husband as repayment for the debts owed. Magistrates, the civil officer with power to administer and enforce the law. It's plausible that the mother's mental state was worsened by the STD syphilis, which can cause insanity when untreated from the filth and foul disease of her former lover. It's quite possible that the mother died from tuberculosis, as she was mentioned to have it earlier in the song. Until the 1940s, when antibiotics were being introduced, there was no known cure for it, making it a common cause of death, as it likely was at the time this song was set. But before she died, I took her hand, as she dying cried, find him, bind him, tie him to a pole, and break his fingers to splinters, drag him to a hole until he wakes up naked, crawling at the ceiling of his grave. Clawing, not crawling. And there's a death rattle. Many classic stories have included dying requests. For example, if you remember the Iliad, that too had a famous death request between Hector and Achilles. But asking someone to kill you is so much cooler than requesting a proper burial. As performed in concert, this sigh is the final gasp of the singer's dear mother, illustrated by Jenny Conley's simultaneous collapse. So the mother, yeah, I bet this is cool live. So the mother's demand for revenge is quite literally her last words, mirroring the singer's final words at the end of the song. It took me 15 years to swallow all of my tears among the urchins in the street until a priory took pity and hired me to keep their vestry nice and neat. But never once in the employ of these holy men did I ever once turn my mind from the thought of revenge. A street urchin is a child who spends most of his time in the streets, especially in slum areas. A religious house under prior or prioress. And a vestry is a home in or a building attached to a church in which the vestments and sometimes just the objects are kept. Basically, the church hired him as a janitor. The years of living in the streets thanks to this man have reinforced the singer's single-minded pursuit, fulfill his mother's dying wish, and kill the man who ruined them. Our protagonist is totally driven by anger. He has been offered an opportunity to start his life over after the ruin of his family, and living as a street urchin for 15 years. He could very easily lived out the rest of his days in relative peace, either continuing as a lay employee at the priory or deciding to take vows and join himself. Additionally, and I thought this was interesting too, Christianity often preaches ideas of forgiveness. So the narrator is saying that even with him working for holy men at a holy site, he did not let go of his ideas of revenge. One night I overheard the prior exchanging words with a whaler from the sea. The captain of a ship who matched you toe to tip was known for wanton cruelty. The following day I shipped to sea with a privateer, and in the whistle of the wind I could almost hear, and then a repeat of the chorus. Our protagonist finally finds a lead, stumbling across what seems to be one of the antagonist's crew while performing his duties in the church. A whaler is a sailor who whales, meaning he catches and or processes whale. Note the homophones whaler and whaler. It is both the man's profession and his business at the church, lamenting his association with the cruel captain. This may have been a confession. He'd be confessing in order to repent for a sin he'd committed. If it was a formal confession, the protagonist overhearing suggests he was eavesdropping on a man confessing his sins, which is, you're not supposed to do that. He realized the captain was his mother's despicable lover by the whaler's description during confession. To be cruel means the cruelty was inflicted without justification or provocation. As part of the storytelling, the writer gives us additional reason to root for the singer. Wanton can also mean sexually casual. The word might deliberately be evocative of the subject's affair with the singer's mother, whom he'd only used for, those purposes before abandoning her. Following day, ship to sea. Privateer is essentially a pirate ship that has been given a mercenary contract by a government to hunt down and plunder the merchants of a rival country. The narrator has become a pirate to hunt his adversary, who works on the whaling vessel. He's likely experiencing delusions, his mind overwhelmed with the impending fulfillment of his self-imposed purpose in life. Whether the mother is actually speaking from beyond the grave or the speaker is going insane is unknown. Then, there is one thing I must say to you as you sail across the sea. Always your mother will watch over you as you avenge this wicked deed. Then haunting sailor-esque musical interlude led by mandolin, accordion, tuba, and violin. During this part, a second voice can be heard that sounds like someone trying to imitate the mother's voice. This can be interpreted as the narrator putting his words in the mother's mouth to justify his actions by saying this is what she would have wanted. And then someone beneath says, I feel it's more of a reminder to himself rather than him trying to justify revenge. The first third of the song is really all the justification he needs. Instrumental breaks of this length are often used to indicate passage of time, and this one really helps to emphasize the fact that the narrator is spending 20 months at sea to fulfill his life's mission. And then that fateful night, we had you in our sight. After 20 months at sea, your starboard flank abeam, I was getting my musket clean. When came this rumbling from beneath, the ocean shook, the sky went black, and the captain quailed, as before us grew the angry jaws of a giant whale, and, screaming. They were pulling up alongside the right-hand flank of the whaler's ship, preparing to board them and attain his bloody revenge, until a sudden rude interruption. The captain appears to have not seen such a sight as this massive whale. To quail means to cower or be apprehensive, as this whale surely would do that to anyone. Typically, whales don't have what can really be described as jaws. Yeah, right? I also thought that was interesting, because most large whales, like sperm whales, don't have teeth, but instead swallow their prey whole and crush them with their stomachs. Other toothed whales wouldn't have stomachs large enough for a human to be within, or aren't actually whales like orcas, which are descended from dolphins. What most likely happened, given the circumstances, is the mariner was knocked unconscious, and the events he is describing as hallucinatory rather than the ones that actually occurred, and he was likely knocked unconscious in the fighting. Given he has been established to experience hallucinations in the previous lines describing him hearing voices, it's not unlikely for this to all be in his head rather than actually unfolding, and his quest for revenge has blinded him into believing these falsehoods. It is around this time in live shows that the audience screams as instructed by Colin Malloy right before the song is started, as well as either a cardboard cutout or a balloon of a whale is passed to the crowd. That's so amazing. I should look up a live video of this. Don't know how I survived. The crew was all chewed alive, but I must have slipped between his teeth. But oh, what providence, what divine intelligence that you should survive as well as me. It gives my heart great joy to see your eyes fill with fear, so lean in close and I will whisper the last words you'll hear. The narrator recognizes how unlikely his survival was, especially paired with the equally unlikely survival of his nemesis. He attributes this unlikely happenstance to God's design, an implicit holy blessing on his quest for vengeance. Doomed to die in the belly of a whale or not, the singer finally has a target right where he wants him. It may have cost him his life, but he has his revenge and he's going to enjoy it. These last words seem to be those that his mother spoke, the orders of his exact execution, as is indicated by the following instrumentation, following the tune of his mother's orders, though gradually speeding up as if representing a frenzy of glory and triumph as he finally gets his revenge. It becomes more and more aggressive over time. At its peak, it simply stops, implying that the deed has been done. Given the length of the instrumental, the murder was likely long and painful for the singer's target. The speed could also represent a maddening frenzy of joy and triumph in the murder of the man who ruined his life and killed his mother. Amazing track. I loved it. That's the Decemberists, The Mariner's Revenge. All right, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you to the people who requested this, and I hope you're having a great day. Stay tuned for more videos, and if you want to support the channel, actually, if you want to support me, I'd highly recommend buying the album I mentioned at the beginning of this video. There's links to all of my stuff down below in the description. But if you want access to more reaction content that gets blocked here on YouTube, consider becoming a patron if you want, because that's also helpful. Or just subscribe, because that's also helpful. All right. Love you guys. See you soon. Deathstroke9 out.